We are back in the year 1985, continuing our look at the Voltron Defender of the Universe toy line by Matchbox. Last week, we learned that World Events Productions re-edited the anime Armored Fleet Die-Rugger 15 into Vehicle Voltron for the United States. We also learned that this Voltron is comprised of the Land Team, CTeam, and Air Team. Each team has 5 pilots and 5 vehicles, and can form their own unique fighter. Last time we took a look at the Land Team and the Turbo Terrain Fighter. This time we'll be checking out the CTeam and the Aqua Fighter here on Part 2 of the KREED'S Collection Christmas Special. Hey, Merry Christmas, and welcome back to Part 2 of the second annual KREED'S Collection Christmas Special. Today we are looking at the CTeam and the Aqua Fighter from the 1985 toy line Voltron, Defender of the Universe by Matchbox. The CTeam is comprised of vehicles number 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6, and we're going to dive right in with number 10 and number 9, piloted by Zandy and Shannon. Zandy and Shannon fly the Type 10 and the Type 9, also known as the multi-wheeled explorers, and they form the lower left and lower right leg of Voltron. Zandy is a barely used character and is mostly relegated to the background. However, Shannon is a pretty well fleshed out character who speaks with an Irish accent, and he also fights because his brother is a captive of the Drool Empire on planet Doom. Shannon is known to be extremely blunt, opinionated, and cynical, and he is often far less optimistic than the rest of the team. I guess because there were so many pilots on the show, they decided that they couldn't make every character be fleshed out or it'd be too confusing for young viewers, so Zandy unfortunately had to take that back seat. Now, for some odd reason, the cockpit glass, which should be right here and right here, it just isn't there. And that's really strange, because every other vehicle in the set has canopy glass. Anyway, there's a button here, and also a better hidden one here, and those are the release mechanisms for when you want to pop it back apart from the Aqua Fighter mode. Here's a quick look at the front of each of the vehicles and the back. Those black tabs are for forming Voltron, so we'll come back to those in Part 4. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the wheels. There are 10 total on the multi-wheeled Explorers. 4 in the front here are plastic, and this one is actually rubber because it is a friction motor. Unfortunately, these have never worked very well. And I'm not going to waste your time showing you the roughly ½ inch it would move if I revved up the motor. Okay, next up we have the Type 8 and the Type 7, piloted by Tangor and Lisa. Tangor, much like Zandy, is basically a background character, and you rarely see him do much. However, Lisa is very fleshed out, just like Shannon, but she is his polar opposite. She is kind, compassionate, and wise beyond her years. She also has extensive knowledge of ancient cultures. Tangor and Lisa's vehicles, the Type 8 and Type 7, are known as the Space Probers here in the States, and they form the left thigh and right thigh of Voltron. As a kid, these were 2 of my favorite ships in the entire set. I really liked how they looked kind of like rockets, very spaceship-esque, even though I know they're submarines. And I enjoyed the front, how they have the fins sticking out of the nose cone. Just thought that was cool looking detail, and it made it look almost retro. I'm happy to say they did not forget to put the canopies on these, as you can see here and here. And right here on the sides you can see these yellow buttons. So they got one here and one here. This front one opens the cone for Voltron transformation. The rear one is a release mechanism when you want to put it back in separate ships. Here we have a straight on front view, and here is a rear view. Both the Space Probers have plastic wheels on the bottom here, and they are freewheeling, so believe it or not, they roll really great. I'll bet if you drop these 2 onto a Hot Wheels track, they would just take off. Now we're going to take a look at the Type 6, piloted by Krick, the C-Team leader. Krick is the same race as Cinda from the Land Team, and they both come from a water planet, and they are an aquatic race. So it makes a lot of sense that Krick would be the C-Team leader. He speaks in an alien dialect and is clairvoyant, so he generally knows when bad things are going to happen. Krick's vehicle, the Type 6, is also known as the Communications Module, and it forms the mid-torso of Voltron. I just want to point out that last week I called Crick Kirk. That's my mistake. His name is Crick. I apologize. The communications module is another one of my favorite ships. I think it's got some nice details. The canopy area looks great. I love the turbine engines here, and this tower piece is nice. It all comes together to make one of the cooler vehicles in the set. The wheels are hard plastic and freewheeling, and this is another one that I'm pretty sure would dominate a Hot Wheels track. Alright, time to form the Sea Fighter. Flip this piece in, and then push this piece out. On the yellow one, same thing. Flip this piece over, and then take this piece and push it out. Now we take the communications module, and we drop the tower piece in, just like so. Now you want to snap on this piece here. There we go. And just repeat the process on the other side. Yep, that one was easier. Now on the front here, we pop on this one. And last but not least, we pop on this one. And behold, the Aqua Fighter. The Aqua Fighter is basically an underwater tank ready to do battle in the briny depths or collect data for the space explorers. When combined into the Aqua Fighter, the CTeam enjoys a more heavily armored vehicle as well as access to better weaponry. Unfortunately, of the 3 separate fighters formed by the teams, this one was always my least favorite. It's not that it looks bad, it's just, I don't know, something about the CTeam never really excited me. I always preferred the Turbo Terrain Fighter and the Strato Fighter. I have to say though, coming back to this set after all these years, I've got a newfound appreciation for it, and I feel like now I like it almost as much as the other two. It doesn't really look like a submarine though, does it? It looks a lot more like a drilling machine that would go burrowing into the side of a mountain. As far as extra features go in this mode, there really aren't any, and it doesn't roll super well because of the friction motors. It's actually quite slow. But I figure that's kind of by design, because this should not function as well on land as the Turbo Terrain Fighter does. Now I'll take a look at one of the copyright dates since they're all practically the same. This is the Type 6. As you can see, it was made in Japan, 1982. And now for our He-Man size comparison. Just like the Turbo Terrain Fighter, He-Man is quite a bit bigger than the Aqua Fighter. And right now, He-Man's thinking he wishes he had something like this. It would have been a lot easier fighting Merman underwater with a submarine. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy retrospective for the Aqua Fighter from the 1985 toy line, Voltron, Defender of the Universe by Matchbox. Remember, this is only part 2 of 4 of the KREED'S Collection Christmas Special. Part 3 will be this Tuesday, December 24th, as we take a look at the Air Team and the Strato Fighter. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, and if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it and would help my channel grow. I do a retrospective on a toy from my vintage collection every Wednesday, and next week you're getting one on Tuesday as well. So I hope to see you next week and every week after, here on KREED'S Collection.